G'day everyone and welcome to another Fusion 360 tutorial. In today's little lesson here, we're going to look at the angle stop, which you can see on my screen right now, and we are going to model this basic object up in 3D. Now, a couple of things to note. First of all, we can see there's dimensions on this this drawing here, and we can also see that the directional arrow marked by A is in fact the front view. So the first thing that I'm going to look at here is basically my approach is going to be draw the front view geometry on the front plane. I will then extrude that to a depth of 70 millimeters, which is up here, which you can see. And then I think what I'll probably do is I'll make a shape that will cut this material out here. So if you think of me extruding the shape and then removing or subtracting some material. Now, what I always recommend is that you take a moment, grab a sheet of paper, just make a quick sketch of what you think that front view should look like, put your dimensions on there, and then away we go. I've done that already. Your teacher may also provide you with the drawing, or alternatively, you can just pause the video now to have a little look. Anyway, I'm going to jump into Fusion 360. All right, so here I am. I am going to click on my front view there, or my front plane, and I'm going to start picking up my sketcher. Here I am. In fact, I'm going to pan this down, and we might just zoom in a little bit. All right, so let's create a line here. So we'll go, here we go. I'm going to create, hold on, I'm waiting for Fusion 360 to crack along here. Create a sketch. That's better. Pan down. All right, with the line tool, let's create the shape for our initial piece of geometry, which kind of looked, I think, something like that. Now I'm looking at my sketch with my dimensions on here, and I can see that if I use the D key, which switches me to my dimension mode here, I can see that this dimension down here was supposed to be 80. I can see that this dimension up here was supposed to be 14. I can see that this dimension between these two lines here was supposed to be 20. And I can see that the dimension here was supposed to be 18. Okay, so we've got that there. I know that the total height of the block was supposed to be 60. And I'm going to make that and this point here a coincidence. So that's basically the same height as that. Now, what you saw me do there, in fact, let me undo that. I chose this line, and I'm holding down the shift key. I'm choosing this point here as my reference. I'm making that coincident so it constrains the 2 points together like so. So if I then had to change this value to 70, let's see what happens. You can see that it follows. So I've basically created a relationship between this and this point here. Anyway, that should be 60. And then this dimension here should be 14. Okay. And we've got one more dimension, obviously, that we're missing here, and that is the dimension between here and here, which should be 14 also. All right, so everything is black, which means it's fully constrained, fully defined, so I can now finish the sketch. I'm going to click on the home button there to get myself into 3D space. So the next thing we want to do is remember how far we needed to extrude this. So I'm jumping back here, and we can see that the extrusion is 70 millimeters. So let's look at doing that extrusion in Fusion 360. So there we have it. I'm going to select that surface there if you like. Okay, let's go and extrude here. So we're clicking on this tool here, and we're going to basically pull this or type in a value of 70 millimeters, I think it was. And I'm just going to hit enter there. I'm just going to double check. Yes, it was 70 millimeters. And here we are. And what you can see here is that we pretty much have this, but we don't have that kind of cut in that front my right side view there, like this guy here. Now, let's think about this for a moment. So we can see that it's 24 in. Okay, so that's equal. And I can see that it cuts in 6 millimeters past this edge here. So let's think about this for a moment. This is what I'm going to do. So I've got the 6 and the 24. They're my numbers that I kind of need to remember. All right, so I'm thinking I'm going to draw a sketch on this top face, if you like. So I'm going to select that top face and let's pick up our sketch. And I'm going to draw a rectangle. Now, here's my rectangle. I'm just going to place it something like that at this point in time. Now, the first thing I want to do is reference with the dimension. So I'm hitting D on the keyboard here. How far from here to this line is it going to be? I'm going to say it was 24. Okay, now if I have a look, going back to my view here, I can see that it dipped in 6 millimeters here past this edge. All right, so I'm now going to reference between here and this edge here, and we're going to put that at 6. All right, so we're looking good so far. Then the next thing that we need to do is basically do a reference from here to here, and guess what? That is going to be 24 also. Let's finish the sketch. All right, so this is what we have. We've basically got this guy here. So what I'm going to do, I'm essentially going to hold shift down here to select both of those. I'm going to go to extrude, and I'm going to, rather than pulling this up, which would create a join, I'm actually going to pull this through. And the intent is that the extent type is going to be going through all of the object as a cut, and I'm going to click OK. And there you have it. That is the object, the angle stop that we've basically modeled from this part here. Just jumping back. And if I wanted to throw a material on here, in fact, what I should do here, guys, is just, I'm just going to basically just sort this out in terms of saving this. So I'm just going to go File, Save. We're going to call this the angle stop. You can see that I'm saving it into my Fusion 360 introduction folder. I'm just going to hit Save on that, which will give this a name here. Now, what I was going to do, or show you here, is putting a material on this. Let's right-click, Physical Material. Our physical material library is going to open. We're going to go into metals here. Let's just scroll down and find aluminium, just the basic aluminium. We'll throw that on there. We'll close that. The next thing I can do here is just right-click on on properties here, and we're going to come down to physical, open that up, and you can see there that this part has a mass of 649.642 grams in aluminium. So that's one way of being in class. We can also check that out if we all add that material also. So look, have a little go at working through that process of modeling the angle stop using the drawing that's provided to you. Hopefully you end up with the same value that I have there as being my mass. If you've done that correctly, then we should all have the same mass. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.